Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. I offer my humble obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. Narayanam namaskrityam naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayed. Before reciting Srimad Bhagvatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisance unto the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayana, unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author of Srimad Bhagavatam. Nashtaprayeshu abhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the classes on Srimad Bhagavatam and by rendering service unto the pure devotee, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the Personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Guruve Gaurachandraye Radhikaya Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha. Namo Pankaj Nabhaya Nama Pankaj Maline Nama Pankaj Netraya Namaste Pankajangriye. Hare Krishna, dear Vaishnavas, thank you so much for joining. We are so blessed to read Srimad Bhagavatam on the auspicious day of Sri Gadadhar Pandit's appearance day. He was the personality who was reading Srimad Bhagavatam with Lord Chaitanya every day, and with the tears coming out from their eyes out of love for Krishna while reading Srimad Bhagavatam. The whole book Bhagavatam would be covered with tears. So we are blessed to read that Bhagavatam. So let's try to also absorb in this reading of Bhagavatam, taking inspiration from the great Gadadhar Pandit, so that we can also cry for Krishna by immersing ourselves in the nectarian ocean of Srimad Bhagavatam. We were reading very, very special verses. Yesterday's verses were really very, very special. Each and every word was so powerful. So Canto 7, Chapter 4, Hiranyakashipu terrorizes the universe. We read till text number 26 yesterday. That how the demigods were so troubled that they approached Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu, there was a transcendental sound. They could not see Lord Vishnu, because one cannot see Krishna from the material senses. One can only see through the medium of service. And that's what the transcendental voice told them. Become my devotee by hearing and chanting and offering prayers, and then have patience, I will come and stop this. So let's see what happens next. Text number 27. Yada deveshu vedeshu goshu vipreshu sadhushu dharme mayi cha vidveshah sa va ashu vinashyati. Translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. When one is envious of the demigods, who represent the Supreme Personality of Godhead, of the Vedas, which give all knowledge, of the cows, Brahmanas, Vaishnavas, and religious principles, and ultimately of me, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he and his civilization will be vanquished without delay. So the Supreme Lord's transcendental voice is speaking this, that if one is envious of Krishna or anything in connection with Krishna, Krishna's cows, Krishna's demigods, Krishna's people, devotees, scriptures, brahmanas, religious principles, etc., then one will be destroyed. Very simple. That's the voice, the transcendental voice is speaking. So in short, looks like the demigod is asking, okay, when will you come? He said, without delay. Ashu. Ashu means very soon. Very soon, the Supreme Lord will come. He's assuring the demigods to vanquish Hiranyakashipu. Why? Because he was torturing the demigods, he was torturing, he was envious of them, he was torturing the brahmanas, the cows, etc. So such a person who is on the side of adharma will ultimately be a failure or will be vanquished, and wherever there is dharma will ultimately be victory, as Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So let's see, any other comments or questions? Okay, let's read the next verse. Yes, Prabhuji, you wanted to share something? Okay, devotees who didn't get chance yesterday would like to read, please.
I'm Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. I can read. Text 28. Nirvairaya Prashantaya Swasutaya Mahatmane Praladaya Yada Drutye Da Nishedpi Varorjitam. Devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. When Hiranyakashipu teases the great devotee Prahlada, his own son, who is peaceful and sober, and who has no enemy, I shall kill Hiranyakashipu immediately, despite the benedictions of Brahma. Purport. Of all sinful activities, an offense to a pure devotee or Vaishnava is the most severe. An offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava is so disastrous that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has compared it to a mad elephant that enters a garden and causes great havoc by uprooting many plants and trees. If one is an offender at the lotus feet of a Brahmana or a Vaishnava, his offense uproot all his auspicious activities. One should therefore very carefully guard against committing Vaishnava aparad or offenses at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Here the Lord clearly says that although Hiranyakashipu had received benedictions from Lord Brahma, these benedictions would be null and void as soon as he committed an offense at the lotus feet of Prahlada Maharaj, his own son. Elsewhere in Srimad Bhagvatam it is said, Ajata Shatrava Shanta Sadhva Sadhu Bhushanaha. A devotee has no enemies, he is peaceful, he abides by the scriptures, and all his characteristics are sublime. A devotee does not create enmity with anyone, but if someone becomes his enemy, that person will be vanquished by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, despite whatever benedictions he may have received from other sources. Hiranyakashipu was certainly enjoying the fruitful results of his austerities. But here the Lord says that as soon as he committed an offense at the lotus feet of Prahlada Maharaj, he would be ruined. One's longevity, opulence, beauty, education, and whatever else one may possess as a result of pious activities cannot protect one if one commits an offense at the lotus feet of a Vaishnava. Despite whatever one possesses, if one offends the lotus feet of a Vaishnava, he will be vanquished. So Lord, Supreme Personality of Lordhead is really consoling demigods here, and he gives the best of the benedictions to demigods who are miserable in their, they are really hankering for the day that they can be out of this misery. And that day is coming very nearby when Hiranyakashipu will commit offense to his son Prahlada Maharaj. And then very nice words here. Prahlada Maharaj, who has no enemies. Some other places there's a word used, Ajata Shatru, and here it says Mahatmane, which means a great devotee. So Prabhupada is saying that Prahlada Maharaj is a great devotee, and when one is a great devotee, that also means he has no enemies. So it's a nice test for our own advancement in spiritual life, is if we even think of bad of anybody or think of with envy or think, oh, he's not doing something good for me, as soon as we say that, we should understand we have not reached that platform yet, because a pure devotional platform is where you are suhritam sarva bhutanam. You think everybody is your friend, because you're just serving the Lord, and Lord is a friend of everyone. So as a servant, you are also a friend of everyone. And then second very nice point is said that Vaishnava Aparad, it's like a mad elephant offense. We know that a tiger can cut a person in a second with his sharp nails or with his but this tiger does not stand in front of elephant. Elephant is more powerful. And mad elephant, what to speak of mad elephant, he can go in a forest and make that forest, cut down that forest in few minutes, they say. Mad elephant is extremely powerful, unimaginably powerful. So this, when we commit an offense at the lotus feet of devotee, it is called Hatti Matta Aparada, Matta. So at the Vaishnava's lotus feet, if we commit that offense, then anything and everything that we may have derived will be ruined. So in this case, longevity, opulence, beauty, education, and whatever else we may have gained, pious activities, birth after birth, they will all be no less, will be no more effective. It's like, you may have millions and millions, but if that one is gone in front of millions, all you're left is with a zero. So that's very nicely, Lord is consoling his devotees, demigods, and also saying what's going to happen in the future. Back to you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So the most serious offense, Vaishnava Aparad. There are 6 types of Vaishnava Aparad. And recently I was hearing a lecture by His Grace Adigadar Prabhu. Very nicely was mentioning all the different categories, and he shared the example that even Lord Chaitanya's mother, Mata Sachi, everyone asked that Sachi Mata, please give her, everyone asked to Lord Chaitanya in the Mahaprakash Leela, where he was showing the form of the Supreme Lord, that please give her Krishna Prem. Lord said no, she has done Vaishnava Aparad. She cannot get the Krishna Prem. And then, long story, it's a very long story, pastime, but ultimately she had to take the dust of Advaitacharya because she had offended Advaitacharya in the past. If you want to hear that lecture, it's very nice. There are 6 types of offenses. Hanti nindati vaidveshti Vaishnava na binandati krudhyate api na harshan darshane patananishat. That killing a Vaishnava or being envious of a Vaishnava or not being happy when we see a Vaishnava, that's also an offense. So different categories of offenses. The point is that we should be very, very cautious and not take devotees casually, because when we take things casually, then there is familiarity breeds contempt, and then we don't value what we have received. The example is given that a lady who is in a tribal in a sandalwood forest, she does not know the sandalwood are very precious, so she just burns sandalwood to get some heat. So familiarity breeds contempt, and it can happen more when the relationship is closer. Like if I talk to someone once in a month, there is less probability of offending that person because I'll be very careful. I'm meeting for maybe an hour or 2. There is less probability of offense there. But sometimes when we interact more, especially in the family, because we are interacting much more, due to any service we are interacting more, then the probability of offense may go a little higher. Why? Because we are all individuals, and there could be disagreements, and if they're not dealt in a Vaishnava way, and sometimes between husband, wife, children, brother, god sister, etc., we have to be very, very careful, not little careful, because this mad elephant can ruin our Bhakti Lata Beach. So we have to always be on guard. The Lord Haristhane aparad hari naam tar, Thomas thane aparad na paibe aar. If someone then does offense to the Lord, then the holy name will deliver. But if someone does offense to devotees of the Lord, then there is no hope. So, very cautious. Any other comments or questions? Okay, let's read the next verse. Srilas Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam everyone. Text 29. Sri Narada Uvacha Iti Ukta Loka Guruna Tam Pranamya Divaukasha Yavar Tanta Gatot Vega Menira Charyam Hatam. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: The great saint Narada Muni continued, when the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the spiritual master of everyone, thus reassured all the demigods living in the heavenly planets, they offered their respectful obeisances unto him and returned, confident that the demon Hiranyakashipu was now practically dead. Purport: the less intelligent men who are always busy worshipping the demigods should note that when the demigods are harassed by the demons, they approach the Supreme Personality of Godhead for relief. Since the demigods resort to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, why should the worshippers of the demigod not approach the Supreme Lord for whatever benefits they desire? Srimad Bhagvatam 2.3.10 says, Akama sarva kamo va moksha kamo udaradhi tivrena bhakti yojena yajeda purusham param. Whether one desires everything or nothing, or whether he desires to merge into the existence of the Lord, he is intelligent only if he worships Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, by rendering transcendental loving service. Whether one is a karmi, jnani or yogi, if one wants a particular benediction fulfilled, even if it be material, one should approach the Supreme Lord and pray to him, for then it will be fulfilled. There is no need to approach any demigod separately for fulfillment of any desire. So this beautiful verse proves that for any desire anybody has, they can go directly to the Supreme Personality of Godhead instead of going to the demigod. And here we see when the demigods heard, pray to the Lord is giving them assurance that he is coming. And they have full faith that now Hiranyakashipu is as good as dead because the Lord is on his case now. And Prabhupada gives us a good inspiration that even the demigods, initially they had gone to Brahma because of Hiranyakashipu's penance, and now they're going to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has given full assurance that he'll take care of them. And Prabhupada is giving us this great lesson that no matter what path we are following, if we are Jnani, Karmi, or Dhyani Yogi, if we go to the Lord, he will fulfill all our material desires and spiritual desires. So there's always different levels. The highest level is not having any material desires, going to the Lord only to serve him. And then the lower level of if anybody has any material desires also, they can still approach the Lord just like Dhruva Maharaj did, and he reached the highest level because while doing the process of bhakti, one is purified and any material contamination goes away. Thank you, Prabhuji. Please, if you'd like to add or correct.
Thank you so much. So this lesson is coming again and again in Prabhupada's purport, that no matter whatever desires one has, one should approach Krishna, period. And holding or expecting the help from demigods and considering them separate from the Supreme Lord was compared to holding the dog's tail trying to cross over the material ocean. Just a few verses back we read that. So intelligent person must worship Krishna. That's the verdict of Srimad Bhagvatam, that's the verdict of Bhagavad Gita and all holy scriptures. Another very important lesson in this verse is that one should have faith in the words of the Lord. Krishna said, okay, I will come. Lord Vishnu said, okay, I'll do something about this Hiranyakashipu situation. Demigods had faith. And then they returned back to their kingdoms, confident that the demon will be killed, but practically dead. That's a word used. So we should also have that confidence, that faith, that yes, if I take to this process sincerely, reading Srimad Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, chanting 16 rounds minimum, doing all the things, the do's and the don'ts as per the guidance of Guru, Sadhu and Shastra, there is absolutely no doubt that my destination, Prabhupada would take me back to Godhead. If I'm following my part of the contract, then the spiritual master will take care of his part of the contract. If I breach my part of the contract, then we cannot expect. If I am callous, lack of sincerity, lack of seriousness, lack of faith, lack of confidence in the path of bhakti, then the journey will be bumpy and it will take a lot of more time. So one should have faith in the words of Krishna, in the words of spiritual master, in the words of Prabhupada, and take it seriously. And what did Krishna say? Pretty much he said in the 2 verses back. Chant nicely, offer prayers, become my devotee. That's the conclusion. Okay, any other comments or questions? Okay, let's read the next verse, text 30. Yes, Sundari Priya Mataji, you want to read, please?
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you. Please accept my humble obeisances. Our glories to Srila Prabhupada. Text 30. Tasya deita pate putra jatvatra paramadbhuta prarado abhum mahastesam gunir mahad upashaka. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada ki jai. Hiranyakashipu had 4 wonderful, well-qualified sons, of whom the one named Prahlada was the best. Indeed, Prahlada was a reservoir of all transcendental qualities because he was an unalloyed devotee of the personality of Godhead. Purport. Yasyasti bhaktir bhagvate akinchana sarver gunes tatra samasate sura. In one who has unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, all the good qualities of Krishna and the demigods are consistently manifested. Bhagavatam 5.18.12. Prahlada Maharaj is praised herein for having all good qualities because of worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, a pure devotee who has no motives has all good qualities, material and spiritual. If one is spiritually advanced, being a staunch liberal devotee of the Lord, all good qualities are manifest in his body. On the other hand, harabhabhaktasya kuto mahat guna. If one is not a devotee, even if he has some materially good qualities, they have no value. That is the verdict of the Vedas. Jai. So here we see what are the transcendental qualities of Prahlada Maharaj are being described, and here they say that Hiranyakashipu had 4 sons, and they were all very well qualified, but Prahlad Maharaj was the best of the best. So he had so many beautiful transcendental qualities because he was an unalloyed devotee of Supreme Personality of Godhead. And we see here the Bhagavatam, the prayers of residents of Jambudvipa. They had mentioned in 5th canto that the unflinching devotional faith in Krishna, when those who have that faith, unflinching faith in Krishna, they have so many beautiful good qualities that all the qualities of Krishna and demigod are constantly manifest in them. We see it says even here, you can tell by the first 5 people that you associate that what your character and what your values may be. And if those devotees who are pure at heart, you can see they manifest all the qualities that the Lord has, and we can see how they advance in spiritual life, and how that's why we feel so attracted towards them, because their radiance, the way they talk, the way they behave, the way they pray, the way they offer obeisances, the way they give you gratitude and love, and so much you can see that it's overspilling the mercy of the Lord and the demigods. And on the other hand, when we see a devotee who doesn't believe in devotional service and are completely materially motivated, then they have no value, even if they may have all the opulence like Hiranyakashipu. But if their intentions are not good, it really doesn't last long, and it doesn't attract. And Prabhupada says here very importantly that this is the verdict of the Vedas, that those who have good qualities, they really, you can see that the Lord's mercy is flowing through them. So that's my understanding. Prabhuji, please correct or add. Haribo.
Thank you so much, Mataji. So we read the names of the sons of Hiranyakashipu in the last canto, the last few chapters. I don't recall all the names, but one was Allad and etc. But Prahlad was one of the best amongst them. So here even the names are not coming. So because Prahlad was like the jewel in the family of Hiranyakashipu. And why was he the jewel? Because of his devotional qualities. I heard from His Holiness Radha Govind Swami Maharaj, someone asked this question, but when Hiranyakashipu had gone to do tapasya, this will come later. But since I heard this today, and I may forget that later, so I just want to share this point. Maharaj was mentioning that Prahlad was in the womb of his mother Kayadu for a very, very long time. Practically all the time which we read, 100 celestial years, when Hiranyakashipu was doing tapasya, Prahlad was in the womb of the mother in the ashram of Narad Muni learning Srimad Bhagvatam. So it may be hard for us to conceive how can that happen, but it's a different yoga, it's a different time, etc. Like how we cannot conceive someone standing on toes for thousands of years. So we cannot conceive this from our blunt senses, our tiny intelligence, but we have to see from the eyes of scriptures. So that was Prahlad. Hearing from Narad Muni, which will come later, because of divine devotional qualities, he was an unalloyed devotee and all the good qualities come. So one does not need to go to this anger management seminar and stress management seminar and this management and that management. A devotee has genuinely all good qualities manifest. So if we are rendering bhakti sincerely, then the good qualities will come. And it's a test also. Humility, tolerance, suhridam, sarvabhutana, being friendly towards all, not harboring envy against anyone, not fault finding against anyone, not backbiting, not talking ill about others, being peaceful, We just read those two qualities, Nirvairinam, Prashantam. So all these are divine qualities, fearlessness, which we will see later. So how do they come? By being a nice devotee. Naturally they come. Any other comments anyone has? Okay, let's read the next verse. Sujoya Mataji, you want to read?
Thank you. All goes to Srila Prabhupada. Text 31-32. Brahmana Srila Sampanna Satta Sandho Jitendriyam Atmavat Saiva Bhutanam Eka Priya Shrutamaham Dasvat Sannata Yangrihi Pitrvadina Vakshalam Vayadvat Sadvese Snigdha Guru Shab Ishara Bhavanam Viddartha Rupa Janmadha Manas Sambha Vivarjitam. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Joy Srila Prabhupada. The qualities of Maharaj Prahlada, the son of Hiranyakashipu, are described herewith. He was completely cultured as a qualified Brahmana, having very good character and being determined to understand the absolute truth. He had full control of his senses and mind. Like the Supersoul, he was kind to every living entity and was the best friend of everyone. To respectable persons, he acted exactly like a menial servant. To the poor, he was like a father. To his equals, he was attached like a sympathetic brother, and he considered his teachers, spiritual masters, and older god brothers to be as good as Supreme Personality of Godhead. He was completely free from unnatural pride that might have arisen from his good education, riches, beauty, aristocracy, and so on. These are some of the qualifications of Vaishnava. A Vaishnava is automatically a Brahmana because a Vaishnava has all the good qualities of Brahmana. Sama, Dhamma, Tapa, Shaucham, Kashmir, Arjavam, Evacha, Jnanam, Vijnanam, Astikam, Brahma, Karma, Savabhagam. Peacefulness, self-control, austerity, purity, tolerance, honesty, wisdom, knowledge, and religiousness, these are the qualities by which the Brahmanas work. These qualities are manifest in the body of a Vaishnava. Therefore, a perfect Vaishnava is also a perfect Brahmana, as indicated here by the words of Brahmanaha Sila Sampannaha. A Vaishnava is always determined to understand the absolute truth. And to understand the absolute truth, one needs to have full control over his senses and mind. Prahlada Maharaj possessed all these qualities. A Vaishnava is always a well-wisher to everyone. The 6 Goswamis, for example, are described in this way. Dhira Adhira Jnana Priyao. They were popular with both the gentle and ruffians. A Vaishnava must be equal to everyone, regardless of one's position, Atmavat. A Vaishnava should be like Paramatma, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam Rid Deshe Arjuna Tishtati. Paramatma does not hate anyone. Indeed, he is in the heart of a Brahmana, but he is also even in the heart of a pig. As the moon never refuses to distribute its pleasing rays even to the home of a Chandala, a Vaishnava never refuses to act for everyone's welfare. Therefore, a Vaishnava is always obedient to the spiritual master, Acharya. The word Acharya refers to one who is advanced in knowledge. One who is deficient in knowledge cannot be called Acharya. At the present, however, the word Arya is used to refer to those who are godless. This is the unfortunate situation of Kali Yuga. The word Guru refers to the spiritual master who initiates his disciples into advancement in the
signs of Krishna or Krishna consciousness as stated by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, Sri Bhagavan Mantra Upodakshe Gurave Iti Arthaha. Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Mataji. Really very, very powerful verse. So many wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj are mentioned here. So, first of all, he was a Brahmana, not just by, certainly he was not a Brahmana by birth, and this shows that Brahmana is not by birth, but it is by quality, Shila Sampanna. All good qualities he had. What were those qualities? Jitendriyaha. In text number 19, we learned that Hiranyakashipu had lot of material wealth. Text number 19, the word used for Hiranyakashipu is ajitendriya. When we add the word it becomes opposite before it, like a prefix. So jitendriya means, indriya means senses, jita means victory. So one who has attained victory over one's senses and mind is called jitendriya. And one who has been defeated by the mind and senses, or one who is not able to control mind and senses, is called ajitendriya. That was used for Hiranyakashipu, and that was the biggest reason for his dissatisfaction. We read that in text 19. But here, Prahlad Maharaj had full control over his mind and senses. And he had all the divine qualities. And the text 32 states how a divine person deals with different people. To his elders, or the respectable ones, he was acting like a menial servant. That's very, very important. To the seniors, he was acting like a menial servant, learning from them, serving them, etc. To those who were less than him, to the poor, in any aspect, he was like a father. Father means caring, compassion, love, kindness. And this comes in multiple verses actually, Nectar of Instruction. This comes in multiple points in the Bhagavatam. How to deal with different categories of devotees or different categories of people, which are broadly like three. One who are superior to us, one who are inferior in the sense new. It could be in multiple ways. For example, if someone does not have food, we try to give them Krishna Prasad, as ISKCON multiple centers are trying to do. Those who are equal, he was acting like a sympathetic brother. Very, very important. And completely free from pride. Totally opposite quality we see in Hiranyakashipu, that he was so attached to his wealth, his name, fame, which come out of education, dharma, janma, aishwarya, shuta, shribhit. All these four things, Kunti Maharani says, could become disqualification. The high birth, the aristocracy, Prahlad Maharaj. Imagine if one's father is so wealthy that the demigods are their servant, the child may certainly be puffed up. But Prahlad Maharaj had no such thing like pride. So these are the wonderful qualities of a Vaishnava, regardless of one's position. So one must try to develop these qualities by intensifying our Krishna consciousness. And that is the real meaning of Arya, one who follows the path of Dharma. And Prabhupada is saying that in this day and age in India there is a Samaj, there is a society, and I was actually part of it before coming to Krishna consciousness. I studied in that school. The DAV school is basically kind of the Arya Samaj group. They don't believe in the personal existence of God. They believe in the light, basically Mayavadi philosophy. So, impersonalist. So that is not the Arya. Arya means devotees, one who is advanced in knowledge, one who is following the Guru Sadhu Shastra as per the bona fide scriptures. That is real Arya, not any Tom, Dick, Harry and making a society called Arya Samaj and all that stuff. So, any other comments anyone has? Okay, one last verse and then we will pause. Would someone like to read? Ekant Prabhu, you want to read?
Hare Krishna Prabhu. Yep, sure. Prabhu, text 33, right? So,
yes, please.
Hare Krishna. Nodo vignashito vyasaneshu nishpraha shruteshu drishteshu guneshu avasudrik dantreya pranam sharira diha sada kashanta kamo rahita suraha. Translation and purport by Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. Although Prahlad Maharaj was born in a family of asuras, he himself was not an asura but a great devotee of Lord Vishnu. Unlike the other asuras, he was never envious of Vaishnavas. He was not agitated when put into danger, and he was neither directly nor indirectly interested in the fruitive activities described in the Vedas. Indeed, he considered everything material to be useless, and therefore he was completely devoid of material desires. He always controlled his senses and life air, and being of steady intelligence and determination, he subdued all the lusty desires. From the verse, we discovered that a man is not qualified or disqualified simply by birth. Prahlad Maharaj was an asura by birth, yet he possessed all the qualities of perfect Brahmana. Brahmanya Sila Sampannaha. Anyone can become a fully qualified Brahmana under the direction of a spiritual master. Prahlad Maharaj provided a vivid example of how to think of the spiritual master and accept his directions calmly. Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Prabhu. The wonderful qualities of Prahlad Maharaj continue. Na udvigna chitta, one who could not be agitated. Such a great quality, equipoised in any ups and downs. The greatness of a person is tested in provoking circumstances. So Prahlad Maharaj was not agitated in any provoking situation, which we will see. The situations which he was put in was, beyond even to be dreamt of. No one in the dream would like to go in those situations. But he was still not agitated. And what else? He was completely sense-controlled, dantendriya. In the previous verse, the word used was jitendriya. Dant is also used to control. The word is to control the senses. Indriya means senses. And also, the word used is, he was a great devotee and not interested in fruitive activities. That's very, very important. He was only interested in pure bhakti. And therefore, when we talk about great devotees, Prahlad Maharaj's name is pretty much on the top on the list, because he was unalloyed devotee right from the birth. What else? He considered everything material to be useless. Paramahamsa. Hamsa means who can separate, milk from mixture of milk and water, which is very, very hard. No ordinary person can do that, but Hamsa can do that. But Paramhamsa, separating the spiritual from the mixture of material and spiritual is very difficult. But a Paramahamsa like Prahlad, he could discard the material things and only take full shelter of bhakti, which was completely free from material desires. A lot of people do bhakti, which we just discussed, and it is okay, but the best is to do without any material desires. And in that way, no lusty thoughts could bother him, because he was situated in such a higher taste. Then he subdued all the lower taste. Very simple. One is too busy in spiritual life, then there is no time to think about movies, to think about other nonsensical stuff which are not conducive. One is too absorbed in bhakti, in the taste of bhakti. Then the material things don't give which are anyways dry, which are like ocean of salt. How can we expect sweetness in the ocean of salt? But bhakti is ocean of sugar, ocean of real nectar. Srimad Bhagvatam rasam alayam. So Prahlad Maharaj was busy in bhakti, unalloyed bhakti, into the glories of Prahlad Maharaj. And then Prabhupada says, it's a vivid example of how to think of the spiritual master and accept his directions calmly. He was the disciple of Narada Muni, which we will see later. So he was just following the instructions. Any other comments or questions?
Haribo, Hare Krishna, Dandvat, everybody. The main point here is that Srila Prabhupada is writing about the qualified Brahmana, because he was facing the situation when he gave the Brahmana initiation to all the Western devotees. In India, when he was there, he was criticized by many other groups that you gave these mlechas, made them Brahmanas. So then Srila Prabhupada would always give the example of the Prahlad Maharaj. And he would also say that, not just this, we will further read that when the time is come, after the Hiranyakashipu is killed, and the demigods don't even want to go to praise to Lord Nrsimhadev after Hiranyakashipu is killed. And they are asking Prahlad to go. The Prahlad is so humble, he says, but who am I? I'm born in the Asuras family. And look at the Asuras are filled with mode of past ignorance. But still, because the demigods knew the position of Prahlad Maharaj as one of the Mahajan, they saw how he had gone. So that was the Srila Prabhupada. That's why Srila Prabhupada is writing very clearly that under the direction of the spiritual master, the spiritual master can give the initiation of a Brahman initiation. And the last point in the important point is in the translation. The last few lines is very important. Everybody has a difficulty of the lusty desires. Now, lusty desires doesn't mean the opposite sex lusty desire only. To have something nice for health is also lusty desires. Or something to eat, something which is, when I eat more, that is also lusty desires. Lusty desires come many different ways. But how did he do it? He controlled his senses, life here, and he performed his devotional service with steady intelligence and determination. So these are the points are very important in our devotional service to perform, to subdue the lusty desire. That's what they are Narada Muni talking about. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Virabhadra Prabhuji complete?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yeah, I completed. Yeah. That's why I put on mute.
Okay. Sorry, there was some interruption at my end. So I believe we will stop here. Thank you everyone for joining. Grantraj Srimad Bhagvatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Samaveta Gaur Bhaktavind ki jai. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubheva cha Patitanam Pavanebhya Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna.